So, my next guest coming to the Godcast. He's an author, an economist, a political analyst, a social commentator. He's authored several financial advice books, including Financial Lovemaking 101, Merging Assets with Your Partner in Ways That Feel Good. Isn't that an excellent title? Like, that's just something I want to read that immediately. Like financial lovemaking. People would love to learn how to merge their assets with their partner in ways that feel good. Black American money, as well as what if George Bush were a black man? Y'all know this brother from his commentary on IG, YouTube. Yeah, man. Let's just welcome our brother, the great Dr. Boyce Watkins, to the Godcast.
What's happening, man?
How you, brother?
I'm doing good, brother. It's great to get a chance to meet you finally.
Yes, sir. It's great to meet you as well, brother. Your reputation precedes you.
Oh man, thank you. I'm honored and flattered. Thank you. Same to you, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, I just gave you a little introduction, but why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself and your expertise?
Okay. Well, I have some thoughts and opinions about a few different things. Mostly things that relate to first of all, B1. I'm B1 first. Hashtag B1 in the chat. If anybody agrees with that. Number two, I believe the economic power is one of the most critical keys to Black power that there is. I believe that when we get our money right, when we really start thinking about economics in a certain way, it's going to increase our power. I'm a believer in, and I'm very excited about the reemergence of the Black man to our place on the throne. I believe that's happening. It's going to happen this century. I think this century is when the Black man becomes what we're meant to be. We got disabled a little bit. We got kind of kicked back a little bit, but I think you're seeing examples of us really evolving in extraordinary ways. And lastly, I believe in telling it like it is. I believe in that some sort of radical thinking is critical for us to change the game. We can't worry about being nice to people or being afraid or just going along with the okie doke or just doing what everybody else has been doing. We got to change everything.
Absolutely.
It can't be like Doc Rivers was when the Clippers were playing or whoever they were playing, and they was getting their ass kicked, and then they didn't change. He didn't change anything. Exactly, and then you saw what happened. So I'm a believer that you engage in radical change so you can change the world around you.
Absolutely. In the art of war, Sun Tzu talks about being able to change your strategy depending on, the terrain that you're on or something like that. If it's an uphill battle or a downhill, you see what I'm saying? You can't just rigidly sometimes, try to fit a square in a round hole. It's just not going to work. You have to adjust sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. So I see the T-shirt that you have on right now. It says Democrat, Republican, Black. Now, did you watch the debates last night? Because I didn't. I was busy interviewing Dr. Umar Johnson. Maybe you know the brother?
Yes, I do.
Uh-huh. Yes.
And he knows me.
Yes. I've heard. Maybe you guys have a little history. I don't know.
A little bit of history,
A little bit of history.
But I think he's such a great orator,
Yes.
and he has so much knowledge, and so I'm not going to let any personal stuff get in the way of the respect that I have for the man's intellect. Different strokes for different folks. And I'm glad you interviewed him because I think people should hear what he has to say. And as far as the debate goes, I have only so much tolerance for bullshit. I didn't feel that watching the debate was going to be the best use of my time. I'm a father. My brother spend time with my kids. I'm a thinker. I'd rather do things that I really think are actually going to solve the problem. And so what I did though is I did brief myself on it because I knew people because I knew I'd have something to say about it. I didn't want to speak from a completely uninformed place. So I checked out transcripts, watched some of the snippets, stuff like that. And so I got the gist of it. I saw the stuff with the fly on the guy's head and all that shit.
I'm gonna be honest. That's probably about all I saw. I did no. I didn't. I know nothing about it. So if you would like to, fill me in on the bullshit that you observed, I'd be glad to hear it. But I mean, do you plan on voting? Are you a Democrat or are you a Republican? What's your stance? Are you a the type of person that feels like they're gonna hold their vote? That your vote is political currency, and if you don't get anything, that you shouldn't give it. How do you feel about these things?
Well, I'm historically a Democrat. Historically, I'm really,
as are a lot of black people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being really excited about, when Bill Clinton got elected. I really thought that was going to make a difference. I did not, in hindsight, I'm just fascinated by how terrible that presidency was for us in certain ways. It was almost a repeat of the devastation that occurred during the Reagan era. In that was that time when Democrats tried to get more votes by acting more like Republicans. So Clinton and Biden passed that crime bill, and it's just like you just saw black men dropping like flies, getting these crazy prison sentences and everything. And so over time, I just began to kind of question things. And I said, wait a minute, the things that everybody's telling me I'm supposed to do are just not working. These things are taking us backward. And so that's when I started to form a different mindset of politics. I started reading things that are outside the box. You go back, you read what W.E.B. Du Bois wrote when he said, he wrote an article called Why I Will Not Vote. And I said, man, this is crazy. This guy, 100 years ago, he was saying the same stuff that we're saying right now. And when you see people in our community having the same problems now that we had 50 years ago, 100 years ago, that right there should be quite alarming. That right there is an alarm bell to tell you that you could be wasting your life. You could be wasting your life just literally living the same rerun over and over and over again. So my position on the voting thing is, number one, I don't tell anybody what to do because I believe in freedom. Freedom means doing what the fuck you want to do. Freedom does not mean that you get a better pimp or that you go from having the Democrats telling you what to do to having the Republicans telling you what to do. None of these people care about you. And I shouldn't tell you what to do. So I'm very clear to say I'm not telling anybody who to vote for. I'm not campaigning for nothing. The only thing I campaign for is black people, right? And I believe we vote with our knowledge. We vote with our energy. We vote with our dollar bills, things like that, things that are really going to make a difference. As far as this election goes, I'm choosing not to support either candidate because I believe, and maybe it's because of who I am and how I was just sort of raised as a man. I believe in things like strength. I think it's very important for black men to have strength as a collective. And I believe that you make yourself look very, very weak when you let somebody put you in the stupid box where they give you two really bad options. And you say, oh, okay, all right, well, I'm gonna just pick the lesser of two evils, right? I'm not gonna play that game. I'll just sit back and fold my arms and say, I'm not picking nothing until you give me an option that makes sense. And that's just, and some people don't see that. Some people just take what they can get, and I respect that. I'm just not going to participate in that. So in this next election, if you look at the history of all the candidates, I don't see any light at the end of any of those tunnels. None of that
At all.
I mean, Biden and Harris made their whole career locking black men up.
They're the lock 'em up gang. Like,
Man,
they're the lock 'em up gang. Like,
there you go.
and for 47 years he's been doing this. Like, y'all talk about now again, y'all can't. It's like you can't say anything that's like not negative about Trump without seeming like you're supporting Trump. I don't support Trump. But what I will say is he's not a lifelong politician like some of these motherfuckers, okay? And yeah, he be fucking up and all of that, but this guy's been fucking up for 47 years. He's been going at black people hard body for 47 years. And now just because he was the vice president to a so-called black man, we supposed to give this man a pass and act like he's for us and all this lesser of two evils shit. Like, I don't play those games. I don't play this lesser of two evils. You know, this poison is less stronger than this poison, so let me drink this one. You know, it tastes a little better. They're both gonna kill me, but this one tastes a little better, so I'm gonna sip on this one. Like it's retarded. Like, I abstain from all poisons. I don't want any poison in my body. I don't want any evil. I don't want to vote for any evil. Like,
There you
and
go.
yeah, man. And then you got this Kamala, however you say her name. She's all gassed up. You know, she got people gassed up because she an AKA and all this type of shit. My wife is an AKA. And so she's
my
all,
sister's AKA too.
yeah, so they, oh, we gonna be marching to the polls with our pinkies up. Get out of here with that nonsense. But anyway, yeah, man, like, I ain't messing with none of them. And yeah, I was just curious on.
Well, you know, I like that too, man. I mean, I think it's and really, here's the thing, right? In a way, this is a beautiful exercise in a great reflection of the diversity that exists in our community. If I'm B1, if I'm truly black first, then why am I going to end my relationship with you as my brother because you voted for one person that and I voted for another? Like, you know, that divide and conquer has been a tool of white supremacy all throughout history, all throughout the world. I always, I bring up the Vietnam War as a prime example because the Americans and the Soviets had this thing with capitalism versus communism, and they used Vietnam as ground zero for this battle and dropped more bombs on this tiny country than all the countries dropped during all of World War II combined, right? Like, destroyed this country, had cousins fighting against cousins and North against South, Vietnamese against Vietnamese. That country was destroyed. And then when the war was over, they all went back home to their cushy little lives. They went back to Russia. They went back to the United States and just said, okay, fuck Vietnam. We don't give a shit. And what I see in the black community is something similar. They got this Democrat Republican bullshit. You know, they got this gang warfare that's bigger than us. It's been going on for a long time. And they're using us as ground zero to fight their battle. So you got black folks on social media, unfriending each other, cussing each other out, want to beat up their relative. Oh, I ain't talking to my uncle because he's a Trump supporter. Well, he's your fucking uncle. He loved you before these white people ever gave a shit about you. Can't you just say, you know what, we agree to disagree, and I love you anyway, and after this election's over, we got to go back to building our community, right? To me, that's what B1 means. It doesn't mean I'm never going to condemn anybody for who they vote for. I'm just not. I refuse to do that. And so I think that you have a right to, as a black man, to say, I can understand why an AKA would love Kamala Harris, right? I mean, it's because all this is about power. When Obama when he appointed Elena Kagan for the Supreme Court, I knew exactly why he appointed Elena Kagan. He should have put a black woman on. Dorothy Height requested that, but instead of putting a black woman on, he picked Elena Kagan. And politically, I understood why. She checked all the boxes. Elena Kagan was Jewish. She was a woman. A lot of people thought she was from the LGBT community, even though she never admitted to that. Also, she was from Harvard. And it's not a coincidence that a ton of our Supreme Court justices, almost every single one of them, went to Harvard or Yale. Ginsburg graduated from Columbia, but she was at Harvard until she transferred because her husband got a different job. So this is a power play. This is Harvard people taking care of Harvard people, right? AKAs are going to take care of AKAs. I'm not mad at that. And I think that black men can take care of black men, So as black men, we can look at a Kamala Harris and say, look, I understand why you like her, but she's not for me. I look at her track record. She doesn't have a good relationship with black men. Just start with the basics of her relationship with her father. He's Jamaican. They're descendants of slave owners somehow. I don't understand that exactly, but she has a very bad relationship with her father. And I don't think that's disconnected to the fact that she goes to an HBCU. Think about this now. She goes to an HBCU, meets thousands of black men.
Right.
She's a pretty lady.
But you marry a white guy.
Right. You married to Doug. How the fuck does that happen?
Right.
Right. So that, and if you think about that, right? People get mad when you bring it up. They're like, oh, you're trying to hate on it. But I said, think about this with a black man. Have you ever met a black man who really hates his mother? Like really has a shitty mother and just can't stand her. And you can make a direct connection between his feelings about his mother and his relationships with women.
Absolutely.
It's an easy connection, right? So with Kamala Harris, the same thing is true. Her and her daddy are not cool. I mean, her daddy went out and just tried to do everything he could to broadside her campaign. That's a lot of bad blood, right? And so this bad relationship with her father translates, in my opinion, to a bad relationship with black men in general. And so, I think that the mindset is fuck black men. We don't need them. We can ignore them. We're dealing with a weakened community. The black community is seen as a fatherless, weakened community. And when you have a fatherless, weakened community, that allows predators to come in and exploit the community. You can take the women, you can enslave the children, you can do whatever the fuck you want. And I believe politically that's what this power play is. So I think as black men, rather than us worrying about what everybody else is doing or being offended by that, I say we just make a stand and say, you know, if you don't relate to us, if you're locking us up in droves, sending brothers off to prison, you know, to who are going through God knows what, you know, like they'll talk all day about a white woman getting raped or somebody touched her ass in 1992 and she deserves $50 million. Well, I mean, black men are going to prison, their brothers getting raped every day, you know, and there's no sympathy for that. So it has to start with us. We have to be the first ones. So in a way, this mass incarceration thing to me, man, is like a Me Too movement for black men. It's where brothers have to say, we matter too. You know, it's because it doesn't matter if white people are saying Black Lives Matter. We have to be the first ones really saying that and force other people to acknowledge that our lives matter, period.
Okay, so here on the Godcast, you know, we like to ask the tough questions sometimes. So I'm going to ask you, brother, did you get some new gates?
Yep.
Everybody in the comments is like, yo, he got some new teeth. Dr. Watkins got some new teeth. He got some new. Hey, they look good on you, brother. Your new gates look great.
Thank you, man.
Did you also lose some weight or something? You just looking.
Yeah, you know what, man?
You're looking good, brother.
But let me just say this, right? I am. Thank you very much, by the way.
Yes, sir.
I am. You know, I go through life talking shit about whatever I see. Right? I say what I say, and it's only natural that that if I'm going to criticize the world, I got to be able to critique myself, right? And so in my own life, a couple of Achilles heels that I had was one. Weight loss. I kept putting on the weight because you know how it is, man. You get to a certain age and the weight just keeps on piling on. And that caused a lot of health issues and shit like that. And I was like, I'm not going out like that, right? So I'm engaged to a beautiful black woman who pushed me to do better. She challenged me. She said, I love you, but you're getting fat, right? And she didn't say it in a mean way, right. But, you know, I had to deal with that. And then the other component was, you know, we had conversations about dental health, you know, and as a kid, you know, like a lot of kids, I mean, I grew up eating, you know, drinking the sugary Kool-Aid. I hated going to the dentist. And so we didn't do what we were supposed to do. But then you start researching and finding out how your dental health affects everything else in your body. And I was like, okay, you know what? With all the battles that I fight, I don't want to go out over stupid shit. I'm not scared to die, but I don't want to die for nothing. I don't want to die for something that could have been prevented or because I didn't want to hold myself accountable to push to a higher standard. So I went to that fucking dentist office, man, paid a lot of money. It's a long process, like six months, actually. I thought it was 6 weeks. It's 6 fucking months, right?
So wait, what do you have? Veneers? What'd you get?
I got implants. Like they had to go. Yeah, they were going. They
had to file your shit down and all of that. Did you have to?
They had to do like all kinds of reconstruction and fix things that really should have been fixed a long time ago.
Right.
And so as a result, you know, it was very humbling because I'm coming out and I'm trying to talk. It's so funny. Right after the procedure was done, man, I got a call from the Red Table Talk, you know, Jada Pinkett's thing.
Yeah.
And, so they were gonna have me and Ice Cube on to talk about the contract with Black America and everything. And we did a little
which what I would like to talk about. Probably.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about. I think it's brilliant. And it was so it was so bad. I was like, I'm not ready. I can't do this because I'm spitting everywhere and can't really talk right. And I'm still not totally back where I want to be. But and then I go in. I'm going live. I had stuff to say, and everybody has something to say about it. And I was like, well, I guess that's what I'm gonna have to deal with. But overall, I'm a big believer that if you ever want to get to your heaven, you got to go through your hell. You got to go through your discomfort. If you can't, if you always walk away from things that are uncomfortable, you'll never get to experience the joy of transformation, of success, or whatever. And so, so the benefit, the challenge was that the surgery was terrible. It was 14 hours. It was supposed to be 7. There's a lot of embarrassment, whatever. But the good side is, we dealt with the dental health thing, and also being on a liquid diet. I lost like 9 pounds in a week, and I love it. I want to keep losing the weight, man. So that's my story. That's what it is.
Hey, man, you looking good, man.
Thank you.
No, no new style shit, but yeah, you're looking good, brother.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's talk about the contract with Black America. What is it? What is the contract with Black America? Why don't we talk about that?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna pull it up so in case you have some specifics on it. But let me say this: it's something that Ice Cube and his team put together. And
shout out to Ice Cube.
Yeah, man, I thought it was great, and I didn't, I wasn't friends with Cube maybe, I guess 2 months ago. I wasn't friends with him. I knew a few rappers or whatever, but I didn't know him. And but he was he's one of my favorites. I mean, I like his music and everything, but I didn't, politically, I never really had a reason to talk to him. And but I saw the contract, and it wasn't just some shit that he threw together. It wasn't like he just said, "I'm just gonna, because I'm famous, I'm gonna go and just tell people what I think." He actually got some scholars. He got some really intelligent people together. In addition to himself, he's a smart guy too. And he put together something that really made me it gave me the sense of almost like a Black version of a Declaration of Independence. And he covered, and I read through it, in detail and everything else. And they did a really good job of hitting the mark on a lot of the issues that plague us as Black people. And so I just, congratulated them on it, because I think it's great when you have people. I'm gonna tell you truth, man. I'm real skeptical of a lot of celebrity types. Because they're just in a world I don't understand. They have to appeal to people that I don't give a fuck about. But I saw this man go on his Instagram and get attacked. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing what happens when you have somebody that's a rapper or athlete, and you see the reaction when people realize he's not just going to shut up and dribble, or he's not just going to shut up and rap. A lot of people in there were saying some pretty hostile things, and I just applaud him for it. I think it was well done.
Yeah, that's what's up. My father had actually come up with something years ago, man, called the Black Alliance Charter. And this was just kind of his idea for, I got to look it up, see exactly what he was talking about. But my pops is a really intelligent guy in his own right. Shout out Lawrence DeShalis. Tell me about the Black Business School.
Well, the Black Business School, you know what? I was on the faculty at Syracuse University, and I was teaching all these kids, mostly white and Jewish kids, and a lot of them will go to Wall Street after they would graduate. And Syracuse was the type of school where it wasn't where you sent your smartest child, but they came from rich families, right? So I'd have students in my class who would have brothers and sisters that were attending Harvard and Yale, but they were kind of the black sheep. Right. So they go to Syracuse, so they can still be elite, but they're not, we know that they're not the brightest in the, in the family. And so anyway, as I was teaching them all this stuff, and I saw them go to Wall Street and make all this money, and I saw what their families were doing with money, I felt a little bit confused, because up until that point, I thought I was a successful Black man. And the reason I thought I was a successful Black man was because white people had given me a nice job. And but I realized that I wasn't as successful as I could have been or wanted to be. because my work was having no impact on the people that I cared about. It's like being a 5-star chef and you're cooking tons of food for people who don't need to eat, but your relatives are starving down the street. That's how I felt. So I started to conduct and put together methods that would allow me to take the things I was teaching in the classroom and get them to the masses. And I saw the internet as a beautiful opportunity to do that. And so the Black Business School came out of that. And what the Black Business School was designed to do was to be a low-cost, high-quality, culturally relevant way for Black people to get a superior education in all things economic and business. The average student in school just pays a couple $100s a year. Some people don't pay anything if they don't have any money. We don't charge them anything. It's like a little bit like a church, and we're really good at what we do because we solve one problem. We focus on one thing, and that is the racial wealth gap. That's it. We Black first. It's all about Black people. And so we focus heavily on the 3 pillars of wealth, the 3 ways that rich people get rich. One is through stock market investing. So the vast majority of our students invest in the stock market. I can show them how to do that in 10 minutes. I wrote my dissertation on it when I got my PhD and everything. That's my specialty. Real estate. We have a guy named Julian Gordon, who's one of the best out there on real estate. He's got tons of people, not just their first home, but they're renting property, all kinds of stuff. And then the third area is entrepreneurship. I'm a believer that every Black person, every Black child, especially every Black boy, should know how to start a business by the age of 12 as a rite of passage. Why is that important? It's important because your economic standing, your economic freedom, your economic flexibility is heavily connected to your access to manhood. A man who cannot provide doesn't feel like a man at all. And what is the paradox that we're trapped in as Black men is that many Black men are raised to expect and to believe that it is a white man's job to allow him to provide for his family. And that is a terrible trap to fall into, because if that other man is providing for your wife and your children, then you're not the man of your house. He's the man of your house, right? And so I believe that Black men, especially men, guys like yourself, for example, like you don't come out to me as a guy who's gonna be that good at working for white people. I know that I'm not.
Absolutely not.
Guys like us get fired on our day off. Right. So you have these men in the community who are not, interested in being beta males. We're not interested in playing third fiddle. We're not running around trying to put on a dress and a wig. And so you don't fit in to somebody else's hierarchy. So men like that, true kings in the community, which there are millions of Black men who fit that category. I believe that a Black man who wants to be a king must learn how to build a castle. So what I found was that even when I built little castles that weren't that big, the pride of having my own castle superseded any extra money I could have made by living in somebody's spare bedroom, in their mansion, or being a part of somebody's organization or corporation. It wasn't about the money. It was about the fact that I knew I get up every day knowing that I can literally tell almost anybody to kiss my Black ass and I'm going to be okay. Right. That's really important to me. So I think everybody needs to know what's important to you and figure out how your economic situation ties directly into that. Most of the systematic racism that we endure as Black people, I say 90% of it comes from the fact that millions of us get up every day and work for a white person. We work for somebody who does not like us, who does not understand us, who does not respect us, and who mistreats us. And that is also what is also killing us. Studies show that daily microaggressions that you endure from racism on your job literally shortens your lifespan. So I think that so the entrepreneurship push is not so much a matter of just making the money. That's nice, but the money, the high from the money kind of goes away. It's really about peace of mind, freedom, and happiness. Because what did the ancestors want for us? They wanted us to be free, and I think your economic situation is a huge part of that process.
Right. So here's the thing, like all 3 things that you said, right? Stock market, real estate, entrepreneurship, all of those things, it seems like it takes money to make money. We as Black people seem like, not only we're starting at a negative. We're not even starting at zero sometimes. We're starting at negative, 5 or something like that.
Yeah.
How do when you're living day to day or paycheck to paycheck, where do you get the extra money? Or if you're 12 years old and you're trying to be an entrepreneur, what am I selling besides, the frame of reference that we all think of drugs, of crack, weed, whatever the case may be. Like, what are some examples that an average 12-year-old can take, or without having to be a rapper or whatever the case may be, to start entrepreneurship and to get into these fields without having a lot of money and growing up with rich parents and all that?
Man, I think it's a great question. And one of the biggest misperceptions I want people to kind of try to get rid of right now is it's a huge misperception that most wealth comes in the form of money. Most wealth is not money. Wealth is could be called capital, and capital comes in a lot of different forms. For a lot of us, our money in our bank account is the lowest form of wealth that we actually have. For example, free time is a form of capital, right? If I have free time, I can go and I can do things that will help me go make money or whatever the case may be. That's why you get paid on your job, is because what they're doing is they're renting your human capital. Your human capital is your skill, it's / intellect. It is your free time. It's your energy, your passion, things like that. Relationships are another form of capital, right? So I would encourage people, if money is not your strong suit, then focus on all the other things that you have that make you rich. Because when you miss all of that, what happens is that's how you get robbed as a community. For example, the fact that other people they steal our athletes through the NCAA. They're stealing $1 billion a year from the black community when they have unpaid athletes. Also, hip hop. Hip hop was stolen from us. We created that. Somebody else eventually owned a big chunk of it. That was a process that I think could have been minimized by a specific mindset in terms of understanding how business works and distribution, all this other stuff, right? So what I would say is don't think that you're poor because you don't have money. The first step I would take, if I'm trying to go into entrepreneurship specifically, is to realize it doesn't cost you anything to get knowledge. And then you're adding to your wealth when you get knowledge. So if I get on the internet every day and I'm watching financial channels and I'm reading stuff on the internet and I'm taking free classes on the internet, or you can even join the Black Business School for free. We give more. The free stuff we give is better than what you got in college, right? So taking in that knowledge, that right there is something you can do without a nickel in your pocket, and you can almost sort of almost like load the gun and get ready so that later on when you actually have resources, you can pull the trigger, right? So the other thing too is when you talk about that other component, relationships. So if I am a person who says, look, I don't have any money to be an entrepreneur, but I want to be a hustle. I want to hustle. I want to hustle legally. I want to make some money. So I'm going to learn everything I can. I'm going to listen to every part. That was what I actually did when I had to make that transition from employee to business owner. All I did was listen to podcasts about entrepreneurship and hear them tell their stories. Then what you do is you can maybe form relationships with people that have what you don't have. So maybe you bump into somebody who says, look, I'm looking for a way to flip some money. Well, if you have the mindset of an entrepreneur, you've already got $1 million inside your brain. Like, and I'm not exaggerating. I'm not being dramatic when I say this. An entrepreneur has a way of seeing the world that is absolutely extraordinary. Like a good entrepreneur can see money when no one else sees money. It's almost like the difference between if you take a dog that's domesticated, like that's what we are. We're raised to be like domesticated house pets, where we learn how to get our money from a paycheck, right? A dog in the house doesn't know how to hunt, right? He only knows how to sit and wait for food to be delivered to him, and if it's not delivered, he's gonna starve to death. Compare that to a dog that lives in the wild, right? He may not be eating as good, but he knows where the food is at. He knows how to dig in the garbage cans. He knows how to hunt animals, right? So a dog that knows how to hunt can go into the woods with a domesticated dog, and the domesticated dog may starve to death and say, there's no food out here. The dog that knows how to hunt is going to say, what are you talking about? There's food everywhere. And I've seen that. You see what I mean? So I've seen that with entrepreneurs. I know entrepreneurs who will say, no, there's money everywhere. And I'm talking about brothers. I'm talking about black men. I'll tell you this story, man. I'm going to shut up about it. I was sitting there. We have these family meetings where we build wealth in the family just by sharing ideas and telling each other what we got going on, so that if somebody can help somebody else out, that's what we do, right? So, so I had one cousin who has an MBA, and he makes about $200,000 a year. Good, solid job, but he's never run a business, anything like that. But he wants to quit his job. He just doesn't know what to do. Another cousin never went to college, right? I mean, grew up in the projects, never went to school, nothing like that. Now, but he's the millionaire because he learned entrepreneurship, right? Mm-hmm. So we're sitting there, and my cousin with the MBA, he says, I really want to have a business, but I just don't know how to make money. I don't know where the money's at. So again, the educated Negro is saying, I don't know where the money's at. Right. My cousin with no education, he said, he just kind of laughs. He said, man, there's money everywhere. Right. So think about that, right? Like, these are two black men. We're supposed to be in the struggle. It's supposed to be too hard. Ain't nothing out here for us, right? The one guy who has no education is the guy who says there's money everywhere. A lot of that's mindset and skill set. Right. Mm-hmm. So I think that we're learning the wrong skills. You get a lot of guys that go to college and they learn everything about business except how to actually create one and run one. Well, that should be the first thing you learn when it comes to business, especially for black men.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I hear you say a lot that the stock market is definitely going to crash. I've heard this for a long time, actually. Tell us about that, and tell us how we can use that to our advantage and not be fearful of it.
Well, it's funny when people talk about the stock market. One of the things that keeps people away from investing is they have a relative who says, the stock market is going to crash. It's going to crash, right? And it does, and it's true. It does crash. It's crashed repeatedly. And what I say to them is I say, okay, I get it that the market's going to crash. I agree with you. I said, but can you name, in fact, I know the answer to the question. So it's really a facetious question. I said, can you name one time in American history where the stock market crashed and it did not recover? Where prices went down and didn't come right back up, within a few months. And they can't name that because it's never happened. So in a way, the stock market is it's like watching a horror movie or something where, they always make you think that the good guy's going to die, but they never die. You know this, right? You're watching the movie and you see him hanging off the edge of the cliff. The bad guys are shooting at him. They blew up his house, and and they do everything to convince you that he might actually die, but he's not gonna fucking die. Tom Cruise will never die.
Right.
It's impossible, right?
This is his movie.
Right. So the stock market kind of does it. The stock market gives you that roller coaster, and you think it's the end of the world, and some people think that. And what happens is they get fooled and then they exit the market at the absolute worst time. But then the sun always comes back out, And so to walk away from the stock market just because it crashed, that's like somebody saying, it's raining outside. I'm never going to leave my house again.
Because I don't want to get wet.
No sense. That's completely illogical. And what one other untold secret, or I hope it's not a secret in our community. It's not going to be after I share this with you. Is that a lot of the people that make the most money in the markets, they make the majority of their money after the crashes. When they see the crash, that's when they go hard. Warren Buffett said, be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful, right? And all he's basically saying is that when prices go down, you buy more. And that's simple shit, right? Buy low, sell high. You do that repeatedly, rinse and repeat, you'll be very wealthy. So the stock market, it's going to crash. It crashes all the time. And after the crash, it always recovers. The COVID crash, when the market dipped, that was the best money-making opportunity probably in 20 years. And the other thing, too, that's really important is, when it comes to investing, you have to understand that the country we live in is a very biased country. It's very biased in favor of people who invest. Investors pay lower taxes. Investors have financial vehicles that allow their money to grow very, very fast. And I'm not talking about rich people. Rich people, a lot of them become rich people because they start behaving like rich people back when they were poor people. Right? So for example, that single mother who works in a restaurant who invests, say, $3, $4, $5 a day, or $20 a month or $30 a month or whatever amount she can afford, in 10 to 15 years, if she's consistent, she will no longer be poor anymore. Right? So ultimately, what people have to think about is that your wealth level is heavily dependent on your financial vehicle, your wealth building vehicle. So think about it like this. Think of wealth as like a race. So we're all racing down the road and everybody has a different vehicle, right? Some people are on foot trying to run. Some people are on bikes. Some people have a motorcycle. Some people have sports cars. Some people have helicopters. Some people have jet airplanes. Well, if you don't invest, if you think you're going to get rich and you don't invest in anything, you're really like a person who's trying to win that race on foot. Now, think about this, right? The fastest human being ever on foot was Usain Bolt, who ran 27 miles an hour. So even the fastest person on earth on foot can't even outrun a busted up Toyota Corolla. So even a bad stock market investor, meaning somebody who doesn't invest that much, but they're just really consistent and they follow a couple basic rules, that person has a better vehicle than a person who does not invest at all. It's really that simple.
So what would be some of the basic rules that people, that you would suggest people follow when they're investing in the stock market? Like, what do you feel about options, things like that? Or, people just trying to get the quick money, or is it better to just put your money in some long thing? And you know what I mean? What's your suggestion on things like that?
Well, the basic rules to start with are, one, don't put all your eggs in one basket. They call that diversification, but you've known what that, we've all known what that means since we were kids, because our grandmother told us that, don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? So you spread your money out. You don't lean on one stock as the stock is going to change everything. That's a very dangerous way to go. Number two, consistency. There's a book by David Bach called The Automatic Millionaire. And in that book, he talks about literally millions of people, regular working class people, not people born with a silver spoon in their mouth, but regular working class people who have a small amount of money deducted out of their check every time they get paid that goes toward their investing, and they just set it and forget it. And they become millionaires that way. By the time they're done, they become millionaires. They change their family wealth structure forever, right? So consistency is really important. Diversification is really important. The advanced stuff, options and things like that, there are some opportunities there, but that takes a little bit more training. A lot of people right now, a big thing that's kind of happening at the moment is with Robinhood. With COVID, a lot of people are jumping on Robinhood, and they're trading the options almost like a casino.
Right.
And that's cool when the market's doing well, like, so for example, I remember, I know you did a lot of stuff on Vlad's show, which, by the way, I like your position on Vlad. I'm glad you're actually challenging him because he needs to be challenged. But I know Vlad loves the stock market. He loves to talk about how great the stock market is. Right. And I like the stock market too. That's my area, right? That's my specialty. But the thing about it though is that good economic times creates a lot of overconfidence. You have a lot of people that think that they're experts on stock market investing because the stock market has done extraordinarily well over the last 10, 15, 20 years. The big test is, how will you handle things when the market doesn't do well? The Japanese stock market crashed in the 80s, and really it never really fully recovered. It's been sick for a very long time. Right. And so ultimately the stock market should not be the only place that you put all your money. And also with these options, it looks like fast, easy money because you're in the middle of an uptrend. But remember, with options though, there are other ways to make money with options that are safer. So for example, when all the people on Robinhood are buying options and they're buying options on certain stocks, I identify the stocks where the option prices are the highest and everybody's buying them, because I go back to buy low, sell high. So I say, okay, you want to buy this option that's overpriced. Well, I'm going to be the person that sells you that option. So it's like gambling, right? I don't want to be the gambler, but I would love to be the house.
Right.
And that's actually one way I generate income in my portfolio. So it's worth people's time to take the time to really learn how these things work, because it really will make a difference in your life. And more so than almost anything I've ever done otherwise, including all the years I spent in school and all that stuff.
Right. So stocks versus Real estate. Because like you said, I don't think you should have all your money in the stock market. The real estate market, I mean, has been here since feudal times. The reason why they're called landlords is that's a term that came from feudal times. People always got to have somewhere to live. Um, what do you feel about real estate as opposed to stocks?
You know what? Yesterday, man, I was on we do these family bike rides, and so it was me and my fiance and her son who's 17. He's my son too,
Mm-hmm.
and he's going to college next year. He's going to major in engineering, and I think that's great, and I support that completely. But we've always had conversations about two things he needs to do as a black man. I've said number one, you want to be an entrepreneur. If you learn entrepreneur, that's the difference between Elon Musk and a guy who is an employee, right? You have the entrepreneurship onto the engineering degree that will accelerate your earning potential at a level that you can't even get to with a job. Number two is we were looking at some property, and because I was looking at some plots of land I was thinking about getting, and I just told him, I said, buy land. And I showed him a little half acre or whatever. I said, you see that little piece of land right there? That's worth $100,000, and I said, so land is valuable. They're not going to make more of it. And land is just probably one of the clearest, most consistent investments that there is, because there are fundamental concerns, legitimate concerns that people have for how the stock market accelerated the way that it has. The reason it's accelerated is because the Federal Reserve has basically been printing money for a really long time, and it creates what they call asset inflation. Mm-hmm. So right now you are living in a bit of a bubble, but that doesn't mean you stay away from it though. Like I'm not a person that's into all these doom and gloom, like end of the world conspiracy theories, because the end of the world hasn't happened yet. People have been spitting that stuff for a long time. 50 years ago, people were saying, "Oh, it's the world's going to come to an end financially in 1962," and it didn't happen. But I do think that to hedge and to protect yourself and to have a balanced economic diet, you want to include real estate participation somewhere in your investing strategy. I think starting with owning your own home, I'm a big believer in that. In fact, I think that it's more than just about the money. Black people must own property. And we must not just own property, but we must make that a core fundamental cultural value, because that is for our safety and protection. Gentrification tends to be easiest for those folks when we don't own what the land on which we stand. So I think ownership, having that as a core value, what that means is that when that young kid grows up and he gets some extra money, he's not going to think about going to buy shoes or clothes or whatever. He's going to be thinking real estate, right? So ultimately, I think real estate is extremely important. The three pillars of wealth are stock investing, real estate investing, and owning a business. And the other thing about owning a business is that you don't actually have to run a business to own a business. Dr. Claude Anderson, who wrote Powernomics, talks all the time about how he actually decided that instead of actually buying entire businesses or running entire businesses, it's better maybe to own a small percentage of the business. That way you put some money in and you become a silent investor. You don't have to do any work, but you still benefit when the business does well. There are a lot of people who take that strategy as well. So there's a lot of ways to skin that cat. And I think what we got to stop doing, and what I don't like, is when we limit ourselves. When people say, well, everybody's not cut out to own a business or to run a business. Well, everybody ain't cut out to be a slave either. Everybody ain't cut out to work for white folks either, right? So we have to spread the game out a little bit and really understand just how important that economic culture is to our liberation. And I really believe, man, that if we do this at a high level, if we really just double down on that and push that as far and as hard as we can with these kids, in 20 or 30, in one generation, you'll see the whole community flip. I really believe that.
If you're just joining us, we're talking to our brother, Dr. Boyce Watkins, economist, author. Click those like buttons. We got like 2,300 people in here right now this morning checking us out. Maybe some of y'all are at work sneaking this good information in. We appreciate you. So, bro, how can a lot of this is like individual advice, but how can we do this collectively? How can we as black people, for instance, with the help of all my people subscribing, we just crossed the 100,000 subscriber mark on our channel, and we're actually now up to like 114,000 and counting.
Nice.
But I say that to say, if I can get each subscriber to send $1 a month, even, we would be, oh man, balling out of control. We would be able, man, I'd be able to go get my own studio with, be able to pay people with cameras, the highest level cameras, all of that type of stuff. Like, you know what I mean? My shit'll be looking like an HBO show or something. You understand what I'm saying? I'd be able to fly guests, here and there, put them up. You know what I mean? Come on, brother. Where you at? Where you at right now, brother? Boyce. No, I'm asking you. Where do you stay at?
Oh, where do I stay? Oh, Chicago.
See, I'd be able to fly you from Chicago, put you up in the hotel, bring you to the studio. You know what I mean? Shoot you and send you on back, like with $1 per subscriber per month. $1? $1. That's cooperative economics, bro. So I'm saying that's a little example. What do you know what I mean? What do you suggest for us communally to help acquire wealth?
Well, we have one thing we believe in, man, at the Black Business School is what we call the Black Core of Three. The Black Core of Three is that we believe Black people should educate our own children, create our own jobs, and support Black businesses. And why? Now, how does that fit into what you were just mentioning? Educating our own children. First of all, that's just important to do because everybody else is, they're pretty much fucking up our kids. All the studies show it. It's true.
The devil's workshop is what.
Yeah, they need to be fired. Right. There you go. And so here's the other thing too, though. You can develop schools in a way where they can be profitable and still really benefit the community. One of the things that I believe we have to do as a community is understand some of the limitations that come from having an overly communist, socialist, Marxist influence on how we pursue Black liberation. We go back to the Panthers and the Civil Rights Movement and things like that. A lot of the influence behind the scenes was from that far left kind of category. And Malcolm X, though, was more a little bit on the right. He was more nationalist. Nationalists saying we must build Black economics. We must build Black businesses. Whereas if you go and you listen to the folks in the socialist, anarchist, communist, Antifa space, they're very anti-business, things like that, anti-family, anti-structure. So why is that important? Well, I think that one of the pitfalls of the way we pursued our liberation up to this point is that some people are led to feel that the Black community is a big charity case. So for example, you think about the Black Panthers. The Black Panthers were one of the things they were best known for was the free lunch program, which I thought was extraordinary. It's wonderful. Lots of people benefited from it. But my question is this: did it have to be the free lunch program, right? Like, could it have been the 25-cent lunch program, the 10-cent lunch program, right? The $1 lunch program, whatever. Or maybe it could have been a program where the people that got it like that, the people that have money, actually would pay for lunch so that the people who don't have money don't have to pay. A subsidy model, right? And why is that important? Well, because here's the thing. When you're doing shit for free, because let's say you've been convinced that Black people are a charity case, not you particularly, but you know what I mean. Because you've been convinced that Black people are a charity case, and the Black person you're serving has been convinced that he's a charity case, he has nothing to contribute to you, then you create an unhealthy, imbalanced, unstable relationship. It can't be sustained because you can't run businesses on nothing, right? And then what's going to happen is that a lot of the people that you're serving for free, the people who say, well, I need you to give me books for free because I can't afford to buy a book. Okay, cool. But I better not see you walking down the street with a pair of Jordans on your fucking feet.
Okay.
If Popeye's Chicken opens up around the corner and you're at Popeye's Chicken every day, you could have broke something off for the Black man that actually cares about you.
Mm.
Like so that's one of the problems is we have disproportionate business models, which is why black empowerment has to be from the ground up. It must be a grassroots thing where it's not a matter of saying let's empower a few leaders that are going to go out and be these superheroes that are going to lift the whole community. The whole community must be empowered to say that we're all part of that leadership. We all have a role to play in making sure that Lord Jamar is good. Like I believe in his podcast. I believe it's important. I believe the community needs our own media. This brother has over 100,000 subscribers. That's extremely important. Well, what part can I play to make sure that he's good? Right? Okay, send him $1. All right, I'm gonna cash app him $1 a month or $2 or join the Patreon or whatever.
And thank you to everybody that has sent during this show right now to the Cash App and to the Super Chat. I truly appreciate it.
There you go. There you go. And so I because I think that we should question this idea that that we're going to have starving leadership, individuals that really have our back, people that are B1 black first all the time, every day, like yourself. That those individuals are not going to get the support they need, but yet you got businesses from other communities, white businesses, Arab, Jewish, Chinese, just making a killing off the black community. And we know that these individuals care nothing for us. So I think it's really mindset, man. I think it's a matter of explaining that narrative to people. And when you explain it to people, logical people are like, oh, yeah, that's a good point. You're right about that. Okay, well, here's $5, right? And I think that sort of thinking, I think that's more of the norm. And also, I think in general, when you talk about developing those institutions, that's what's really going on. That's what you're doing. Like your platform is one of the many institutions being developed in the community that people can turn to, because at some point some shit's really going to go down, something crazy is going to happen, and they're going to turn to your channel to find out what's going on or to get a black perspective, and they're going to turn off CNN and MSNBC and Fox and all that stuff
and Vlad TV.
And Vlad TV. There you go. There you go. There you go. So I think that we are getting there. It's going to take a while, and there are some people who will never get there. But what I have found, like the way we're able to make the Black Business School move forward, man, is we got people that really get it, and we take care of them. They take care of us. And then what it allows us to do is to have a church-like atmosphere where we don't have to be hardcore capitalists, right? Hardcore capitalism is not healthy. Hardcore socialism is not healthy. We're allowed to have that double bottom line that says, look, we got to make money. We got black people that work for us. They got bills to pay. We got to take care of them. But then at the same time, we're not going to break you either. And so what we say to a lot of our students, for example, is I say, look, I'm a college professor. Dr. Claude Anderson's a college professor. We got lawyers and doctors and PhDs that are teaching you, but you went to college and you gave them $100,000 and they even told you they didn't want you there. They don't even like black people. So why not do something for Dr. Claude Anderson, a man who's proven time and again how much he loves you? So I think making that argument continuously allows people to kind of understand what we're doing, because all of this involves a mindset shift. If we don't shift our mindset, then it's going to be very difficult to shift our reality.
That's real. And shifting our frame of reference. I always talk about frame of reference. Like, if you don't have that, that example to work from, you're only going to go from what you've seen in the past. You know what I mean? And we don't have a lot of examples of these things that we need in our lives, and we have to create them now so that, the seeds in the future are able to build off that frame of reference. You in a happy movie as well?
Yeah, I am.
Peace. Okay, Felicia Hardy. She said, peace, happy cast members. Thank you guys for representing the principles of happy in the Happy film. Pardon me. If y'all don't know about the film called Happy, y'all need to check it out. Great film about black economics. Happy is the original name of the Nile River. And basically it uses that example of how economics was built around the Happy River and how we now today, basically the conversation that we're having right now, and how we can actually apply those principles in our lives today. I'm actually having a conversation tonight with Taquay and Riza Islam
Mm.
on their channel.
Yeah,
Yeah, on their
smart,
channel.
very smart people right there. Yeah, I met RZA for the first time when I went down to Tariq Nasheed's conference in Atlanta, and I like that guy a lot. He's really when I see him, I see a leader. I see an intelligent guy. I see a guy that's got discipline, courage. He's got vision. I really, really am impressed with Rizza Islam. I really support him. I've seen some of the stuff he does, and
I just had him on the show as well the other day. I just interviewed him.
I thought you said Rizza just now.
Well, I interviewed Riza on my show, but now the Happy Film, they're having something tonight because Riza's in the film as well. So I'm in the film briefly as well. So I'm super gassed that I'm even amongst all these scholars. Y'all got me feeling like, man, listen, I'm in a film with doctors and professors. Like, get out my face. Like, don't play with me. Like, we got a bunch of intelligent people in this film here, okay? Like, and I'm in it, all right? Okay, so don't play yourself. Are you in the Happy Film? No, I didn't see you, all right? So shut your mouth. But yeah, so we're having a discussion about the Happy Film tonight with Taquay on his channel or whatever the case may be. So I'm going to be a guest and Riza Islam's going to be a guest. But we just recently had Riza Islam on the Godcast.
Yeah, I did see that.
Sharp young man.
Oh yeah, man. I like the guy a lot. So, some brothers, I just wish we could clone them. We had 1 million of y'all, then we could win all the championships.
Man. So, hey man, does anybody in the chat, y'all have any questions for our brother? Anything you might like to know? I appreciate your support. Everybody in the super chat. Oh man. I appreciate y'all. Everybody that's hitting up the Cash App. I appreciate you. Damn, my joint. Thank you, Scott Stewart. Oh, somebody, okay. My man, he put up $12 and he said, I just blessed you for the year. All right?
$1 a month. There you go.
There you go. It's that simple. It's not hard. There you go, Jay Brooks. There you go. 5 months right there. Look at you. You know what I mean? Now you could donate years in advance if you like. Like it's okay. You know what I mean? You could donate years in advance. It would be all good. Nah, I appreciate y'all for real because people feel what's going on. Hey, relax. People see what's going on. And yeah, we're just trying to step up, everything, man. Production value, the people that we're interviewing, the amounts of interviews that we do, and you know what I mean? Give people just a good alternative to what's out there, and give them quality, quality programming coming from that B1 perspective, And I think it's needed, it's important, and people that do that need to come together and rock together, and show that solidarity right now. We need that.
That's right.
Thank you, Anthony Shannon. How does Brother Watkins feel about Jay Morrison and the Tulsa Foundation? Is his question.
That's a heavy question. I would say this. I'm an investor in the Tulsa Fund. And I have not seen or felt anything that caused me any personal problems. But
you've heard the alarming.
I have, and I see everything. I look at everything, and the thing about it is that number one, I've been asked about it a lot, and I have to just say, I don't run another man's business. I don't know exactly the details of how another person runs his business. It's like when I was 24 and one of my friends got accused of rape. It turned out to be a false accusation, thank God, but people were asking me like, well, what do you think? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't sleep with men. You know, like I ain't been around me having sex. I can't tell you. So, you know, in this case, that's kind of what it was. And I think that what I guess my question was, if there's this extensive the thing is, I'm aware, I know how hard it is to get all the regulations to create a fund like that. There's a reason I never did anything like that, because I didn't want to go deal with all the paperwork and the legalities of setting something like that up. It's very, very exhaustive and extensive. And the Securities and Exchange Commission is very careful to not allow people to engage in, in fraudulent behavior. That's how they keep financial markets strong, is they have really strong safeguards in place. So, so my question in response to anybody else's statement would be, okay, if that's the case, then is he in jail? Are they locking somebody up over this? If they're not doing that, then that would tell me that there's more. There's something that's missing here, something that I'm not aware of, right? So I think that what you have to do when you talk about something like the Tulsa Fund, first of all, investing is risky. So if you tell me that somebody is fraudulent because their fund lost money, that's not an indictment, because lots of businesses lose money. Thousands of funds lose money. Now, if you tell me that you wanted your money back and you couldn't get it back, my next question for you would be, well, in the contract you signed, was there a lockup period? A lot of real estate funds, real estate is very illiquid. You can't just go in and just grab your money and pull it out whenever you want to. It gets locked up in things. So my question is there a lockup period? Is there a time period that you, like, I knew when I gave my money over, I wasn't going to get it back for 2 or 3 years. Now, at that point, though, I think that when you talk about the criticism, I think that Jay and the fund, there's room to challenge them and to say, okay, this is what people are saying, answer to that, right? So when I did talk to Jay, I did say, okay, what are you all doing to respond to that? And what I was told was that there were meetings with investors, that there were some YouTube videos where he would go give his side of the story. And then apparently there's some stuff going on in court. I don't know who's suing who and all this other stuff, but whatever, right?
Are you aware of this whole Young Jeezy, apparently a fake? Somebody was paid $10,000 and Young Jeezy was to present, allegedly, to present a check to the fund to make it seem like, to make the people in the fund feel like it was official, but really this was not. Did you hear about all of that right there?
I saw something about that, and that one I don't know. Like I can't really have a verdict on that. Other than there's something called, there's a concept of social proof. Social proof is where people do things and they align themselves with celebrities because that allows other people to feel comfortable participating in something. And if that's the case, I would love to hear them sort of talk about that and explain that in detail. Do I see that as necessarily fraudulent? I don't know. Because, companies do things like that all the time where they align with celebrities and or they'll have a product where they arbitrarily pick a price and maybe they can have the celebrity, they can put a dollar value on something the celebrity did for them that may or may not be reflective of actual real money being invested, right? So almost like if I go do a free speaking engagement and I say, well, my fee is $10,000, and I say, well, I gave you a $10,000 donation, you could say, well, that I did, and you could say that I didn't. I don't know about the Young Jeezy thing, right? I'm not honestly as...
That doesn't sound too ethical to me, I'm going to be honest. If that happened... To make people think that your fund is popping and I got celebrities attached to it when really they're not attached to it, that's unethical to me. I'm gonna be quite honest about that.
I think they can be challenged on that, right? And if that's the case, then yeah, maybe there's something that has to be explained. I remember when Russell Simmons was in court and they were asking him about one of his new products or whatever, and he had said he had inflated the sales numbers. And he basically said that you tell people that you're selling more than what you're selling, because then they'll believe that what you're doing is popping and everybody's going to want to go buy it. And he said that in the court of law. And is that something I would do? I'm not a fan of that, right? I'm not a fan of saying something that's not true. I don't like getting caught in lies. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I'm as curious as you are. Does that mean that the Tulsa Fund is a complete fraud? I don't think that is necessarily a conviction of the Tulsa Fund. I personally think that when I'm looking at what's going on, when I'm listening to the criticism, I sort through the stuff that appears to be legitimate versus the stuff that appears to be personal. I look at the origins of things. I don't believe that all of this outrage would have occurred had there not been an initial disagreement between Jay and Tony. And what I did say to Tony and Jay is I said, this is personal. This is between
who's Tony?
Tony the closer.
Okay.
Tony the closer. I guess they had a business deal and something went wrong. And so Tony's been pretty persistent about going after Jay, and he's pulling the community into this. And I don't like that. I personally don't like that because, when it comes to most other brothers, I like to try to stay on code if I can. Like if I ever had a disagreement with you, I would say, that's between me and him. Like with Umar, you asked me about Umar, that's between me and him. I'm not going to go out and tell people to make a choice or to pick a side or go out of my way to try to tell you all the reasons why I don't get along with Umar, because that's my personal feeling with Umar. Right.
Somebody wanted to know in the comments why he has a problem with you.
It started about 2015. There was a lady that used to work with us named Maria, who I used to let people use my YouTube channel. I don't let as many people use it anymore because sometimes people do things that can cause problems. You give people a platform, they lose their mind. And so anyway, Maria did a video, and it wasn't disrespectful. She was asking about Umar's school. And she was basically saying, this was back in 2015, 5 years ago, right? And she said, in a very respectful way. I mean, that video is still out there, where she just said, where's the evidence that a school's being built? If there's a school being built, is there a board that can answer to the public? Where's the accountability? She asked some questions that I thought were legitimate questions, and so I didn't give her any problems about doing that video. But Umar's sensitive, and I guess he took it. He took offense. Yeah. And so when he took offense to her making the video, he had the assumption that I told her to make this video. And I did not tell her to make that video. I did not say, hey, I want to go. If I have something to say about somebody, I'm just going to say it. I'm not going to go say, hey, I want you to go over here and talk about this guy. Like that's not, no, I don't do that. And so, because I didn't even know about the video until he started attacking me and saying, Boyce put her up to this and Boyce put this woman up to that. And I didn't come from a world where women, you have to tell women what to say. I come from a world of strong, intelligent women where they say what the fuck they want to say. So I tried to squash it. I actually wanted to handle it behind closed doors. I called him. I called him. I had a cell phone. I called him. He didn't answer. I talked to, at that time, I was talking more with Mark Lamont Hill. And Mark mediated. Mark was trying to get us both on the phone. I said, yeah, I'd love to talk to him. Let's figure this out, because this is not accurate. And I guess Umar wasn't comfortable doing that. So we never got a chance to talk, but he kept on saying things and kept, fucking with me, and I think that maybe because I like to think I'm a nice guy. I try to be nice. I want to be nice to black people. Sometimes people think you're a punk. Sometimes people try to pull your punk card. And so I did another video where I just kind of said, okay, well, look, man, I want to resolve this. Let's just, figure this out. And then by the third day, I ain't gonna lie, I was pissed. I was like, man, fuck this bullshit. You putting up memes on, this is like little girl teenager shit. Like, I don't do this. Like, let's get on the fucking phone like men and figure this out, right? And so I did a video where I just basically said, you know what? If you really want to know how I feel about what's going on with this school, here's exactly how I feel. And I really thought when I made that video, I thought that people were going to get mad at me because I'm not into, I never try to compete with demagogish leadership. I'm the greatest, most respected scholar in the world. Like, I don't relate to that. That's not really my style. And so I thought that I was going to be the one who was going to just get most of the backlash. And surprisingly, it actually went in the other direction. That was actually when a lot of people started asking the same questions I had asked. And I think it really upset him. And it makes me sad that happened. I wanted to be friends. I met him in 2013 in Boston, and there's a picture. I didn't share it on Facebook because I didn't want to seem like I was taunting anybody. But we took a picture together, and I showed a couple of my friends. They were like, "When did you take this picture with Umar?" It was back when I wanted to, like, I gave him a shout out. Yeah, I wanted to be friends, but it just didn't work out like that. And so I don't hate the guy at all. I just some things I just don't understand. But I do wish him the best, and I do think that I will still hold to the fact that he's the best speaker I've ever heard, one of the best, and he knows a lot of shit, and I think that's why he should be listened to. But the other stuff isn't really my style, so I don't know how well we would work together. But I don't believe in dragging the whole community into this personal thing, because that's a little bit on the that's a little bit of narcissism, if you ask me. Why the fuck should anybody care about my personal issue with another person? I think the community wants to see black men working together. I'm absolutely convinced of that. I believe that the community doesn't want to see a bunch of 40, 50-year-old black men fighting like kids. I don't think they enjoy that. So we got to fucking lead, man. If we have a problem, we got to solve it in a structured way. The Nation of Islam is a great template for some of that, right? In terms of, now they're not perfect, right? We know that, but they have a great template in terms of how they resolve disputes. I think as black men, we have to do that, and a lot of guys get that. Like, you get it, Tariq gets it, Willie D, I think he gets it, some other brother, David Banner gets it, and those are the guys that I relate to on a more consistent basis. I can't relate to the whole back and forth chatty patty stuff. That's not fun for me.
Right. Well, shit, me and Royce the 5'9" just recently, put our differences to the side and came in solidarity, over this whole Vlad issue. And, I think that was a good symbol and something that was needed, for the people to see. What you're saying, an example of black men coming together and fuck all the bullshit and let's just work, man. Like, we got more in common than we do not in common. You know what I mean? So we got to come together on the things we have in common.
Yeah. To add, as a point, real quick, man. We lead. To the extent that you and I get to be leaders or influencers, we lead at the pleasure of the people. We at the discretion of the people. They empower us to lead. They donate to chats and support things we're doing. So we're no different from like an elected representative. And so our first obligation has to be to the people. And when I actually took a little survey and said, how do you feel when you see black people fighting on YouTube channels and all this stuff? Most of the people just hate that. They hate that shit. And it's just a bad example. And I think that with our community, as we're in this rebuilding phase from the mass incarceration Holocaust, from Biden Clinton bills of the 1990s, the black male is reemerging as a leader and a head of the community. So we've achieved that OG status where there are lots of young guys who are watching us and learning from us. And I think that as the fathers of the community, it is very important that we think about how we carry ourselves. So that's why I have to respect for people like yourself, because it's definitely got to be bigger than us.
Are you a millionaire, brother? Do you mind me asking that? Are you a millionaire?
No, I don't mind you asking. Yeah, I am, but I'm not. I don't believe in being flashy about money, because being flashy makes you a target.
Do you agree that not just black people, but I guess most people, well, not really. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but they're not really gonna listen to you if you ain't got no paper. You understand? Like, you ever met those like, everybody knows maybe like those bums in the hood. Like, there's this nigga that's just, he's a wino. He's down on the ground, dirty as fuck, but he be saying some deep shit. Yo, he be saying some deep shit. Like he maybe he was a professor in his old life, but somehow, drugs and substance abuse somehow got the best of him, but he still got all this knowledge. But he's on the ground, he's dirty, and nobody wants to listen to him. Then you have, the guy that pulls up in the in the Bentley or whatever the case may be, with mad Cubans and all this type of shit. But he might not really know a lot of shit, but people are gonna be more apt to listen to him than they would like the dirty guy. You know what I mean? Like the bum. Even though his knowledge might not be as extensive. So I kind of feel like we need to mix the two in a way. Those of us that have knowledge need to prove our knowledge by manifesting money. You see what I'm saying? So that people would even listen to what we have to say. Or else they're just going to relegate you to, that's just some broke motherfucker just trying to tell me some shit. You see what I'm saying? Like, but if you got some paper and showed and prove what you've been talking about, you see what I'm saying? You're an economist. You talk about financial prosperity and all that. If you're not financially prosper, no one's going to listen to that. No one's going to be like, he doesn't know what he's talking about because he didn't do it himself. You see what I'm saying? Like, what do you think about that? Am I right or left? What's going on?
No, I think it's I think it's a perfect point in that when people are looking for teachers, you need proof of concept. You know, you need like if I'm trying to learn how to win an NBA championship, I'm gonna listen to Michael Jordan before anybody else.
Holla.
You know, so really people they know the difference between somebody that just teaches something and can actually do it. And in fact, that's one of the flaws of a lot of business schools. There's a lot of business schools where people teach business, but they never run a business or even work for a business. And so I think, but it doesn't mean that everybody doesn't have something to offer. It just means you got to know what they're offering and what's real and what's not. So a guy who never ran a business and never worked for a business, maybe he can teach me business theory. But if I want to learn business practice, I got to go talk to somebody who's really in the trenches, right? So same way, like a basketball coach doesn't have to have won an NBA championship to help me learn some important skills, but he may not know the little things that you have to do to be a champion. Michael Jordan and LeBron James might know that. So the same thing is true. I think when you talk about money and wealth, I think it's I'm real careful in terms of how I would shape that, in the sense that having money definitely adds a level of credibility. But a lot of people have money and you don't always know how they got that money. Some people get the money because they were cooning out, or they got the money because white people just love them so much and they just put money in their pocket. And so they can teach you how to make money from white people, but they may not be able to teach you how to make money as an independent black man. Right. And also that bum on the street that doesn't have any money, he may have an understanding of money where he understands things that transcend money. You see, money is not the be all end all, in my opinion. Money is a vehicle. It is a tool to something higher. And the question is, what is higher for you? It's got to go further than the Lamborghini and the nice clothes and the new house. Maybe you got to get past that. Maybe you have to have those things to know that there's got to be more to life. That's why you have a lot of rich people who have all the material possessions in the world, but they're very depressed.
Miserable.
Yeah, miserable. Exactly. Suicidal, like on drugs. And it's because they don't know what's next. Like, sometimes it's a curse to really be as successful as you want to be, because then you're like, shit, my whole purpose in life was to get up and go to work every day so I can make money. Now I have plenty of money. Now I have no reason to get out of bed. So I might as well stay in the bed and get high all day, or whatever, So you got to find a purpose that takes you to whatever that level is. And so that bum or that person that's walked away from money, to some extent, they have a liberation from money that could possibly transcend that. So that person's perspective is worthy of listening to. Like, you can learn from almost any fucking body, right? But I think you got to be real clear about what is it that I'm trying to figure out. Am I trying to figure out how to make my first million? Well, then I need to go talk to somebody who's made their first million. And also, though, I got to remember what a lot of smart people understand, which is that all money ain't good money. So if you're teaching me how to make my first million, I need to make sure that I'm learning that from somebody who has values that I can relate to, that are consistent with who I am, or skill sets, or whatever the case may be. So but to your point, though, I think also when people are looking at who they're learning from, who they're looking up to, this is especially true. I've noticed this with boys. Like, if you're teaching a little boy how to play football, and let's say that the boy is 6'3", 250 pounds, and you're 5'5", 140 pounds, and you're not very good. you're going to have a harder time controlling and managing him than, say, his father, who's also 6'3", 240 pounds, who might have played in the NFL, right? There's a type of like men tend to sort of respect strength, right? Or if you're teaching, if you have a kid that wants to be the next the next Einstein, he wants to get a PhD or something, and you don't have a high education level, then it's hard for you to give him advice on how to become this super scholar when maybe you're not in that same place. Or, same thing's true with anything. I want to be the next great rapper. Well, if your career, never really existed and you're not very good or very successful, then I'm not going to listen to you as much as I might listen to somebody who's been really successful at exactly what I want to do. So that proof of concept that you're talking about is really important. And that's one of the reasons why I don't mind answering that question. Like when people say, "Are you a millionaire?" I say, "Yeah, I am." Now let's move on. And a lot of that's for two reasons. One, because I know enough about money to know that money isn't everything. And then two, I do understand that me having made money means I can now that we've gotten past that, let's get to the things that really matter, right? So it is okay to ask. The third reason I don't like to really talk about it is because that flashy shit, I just tell people, if you get a lot of money, if you ever come into a lot of money, everybody listening, please pay attention, take notes. If you ever come into a lot of money, don't tell nobody shit. Like, don't go bragging. Don't go telling all your relatives and your cousins, because having money really makes you a target. In China, they have a saying that says, the fattest pig always gets slaughtered. So when you are the fattest pig, when you're shining the most and everybody knows how rich you are, you attract things, whether somebody trying to rob you, somebody trying to scam you, people bringing you sob stories or whatever. And you can't win in that situation. So I personally think that that humility, I think humility is a part of your security, because once you figure out how to make wealth, the next step is knowing how to protect your wealth, and you protect your wealth by how you think. Flashy people don't keep their money for very long, in my opinion.
So let me ask you, what are some things you don't spend your money on? You see what I'm saying? Like, let me ask you, do you have a Lamborghini or anything? You see what I'm saying? Like that. How many cars do you drive? Or in your driveway?
You know what, man? I didn't even have a car for a long time.
Wow.
I went 7 or 8 years without a car, because what happened was when I first started my business, I didn't manage my cash flow right. I put all my money into the business, and this is years ago, like 2006 or something like that. I put all my money into my business, and I ran out of money, so I had to give my truck back to the car dealer. I was like, I can't pay for this shit. Y'all can come get it. And once I didn't have a car, this is before Uber and everything. But once I didn't have a car, I realized I didn't really need one. And so, and then when Uber,
this is living in Chicago though.
Now, this was when I was in New York. This was back when I was in New York.
You don't need no goddamn car in New York.
Well, I lived in upstate though. I lived in Syracuse.
Oh yeah, you do.
So that wasn't the real New York, right?
Shout out to Stove God Cooks. He from Syracuse. You do need a car up there. Okay.
Yeah, man. So it was funny. So for years, I didn't even feel like I needed a car. And then when I finally said, okay, let me go and get a car, because we moved into a place that's a little bit further out. I did get what I wanted. It wasn't super fancy, but it's not a cheap car. It would be defined as a luxury car, but
not a super car. You don't have a super car, do you?
No, I do not. I do not have, and I don't have the super car because I don't know what the fuck I would do with it. I would have nowhere. I don't go anywhere. I stay home. I work from home. I like being with my family. You know what I mean? And so if I got it, it would just be an exercise in futility, because I wouldn't get much use out of it anyway. Right. So when I get extra money, man, I invest that shit. I mean, I'm an investoraholic. Like, I love to take money and put it into things that are going to build more wealth long term. And that's really something I really enjoy doing. So because once you get to the point where you got all the clothes you need, you got the car you want, you're living in a house that you're cool with, I don't know what else to do with the money. So it's like, okay, well, let me just invest it. We formed a foundation. It's called the Boyce and Alicia Watkins Foundation. And what we do is we want to raise money and give money to independent Black-owned schools, not public schools, not universities, independent Black-owned schools that need the money. And so that's something that we want to do. But in general, I think investing and building capital and building wealth is really an exciting, fascinating process. But also, it's very important. I've always felt as a black man, it's very important. It's a protective mechanism for my family. It makes sure that that I get to be the boss of all of this. Like I am definitely. They say the word patriarchy is a bad word. I'm a patriarch. I am the godfather of my family and in my space and in my household. And that I know that there's a responsibility that comes with that, the ability to provide, the ability to get problems solved, the ability to be there for the people that love you and look up to you. And so we think of our household as a kingdom,
So now be honest. How many Cuban links do you own?
What's messed up, man? I don't even know what a fucking Cuban link is. What's a Cuban link? She don't know either, man.
It's a big, thick gold chain.
Oh, Cuban links. Man, I have no chains. None. No jewelry.
What kind of watch are you wearing right now?
This is a watch. I bought this on Amazon, and I looked up men's leather watches. And
that is not a Rolex watch.
No, it is not.
How many Rolexes do you own?
0. The only Rolex I have.
Wait a minute, sir. So you mean to tell me that a black man who is amassed, who can say that he's a millionaire, does not have a Cuban link, does not have a Rolex, does not own a supercar?
Nope.
My goodness, we might have to take your temperature, sir, because you might be suffering from some sort of sickness. Because, see, but this is what I'm talking about is frame of reference. You see, we need people like you. We need to show that, you can have money. You don't have to go out and get you a diamond watch, or you don't have to get a Lamborghini and this and that and blah, 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 and have like, you know what I mean? A bunch of unnecessary shit, you could take your money and make it work for you and try to create generational wealth, and stop doing the dumb shit that we've been told to do, that we've been given the frame of reference to do, So, yeah, I'm just glad to hear that. I was just curious what somebody, because they think if you got it, then you got to spend it. You see what I'm saying? If you have it, you have to spend it. You probably don't even know about half the brands. And you got the money to buy this shit, but you probably don't even know about half the brands that people that can't really afford this shit, they know about this shit all day.
Yeah.
They could tell you about, you don't have Givenchy and blah, 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 and all these. Like, what? Huh? Like, I can't even say half that shit. I don't even know what you're talking about sometimes. Like, yeah, that's the shit. That's the, okay. Like, all right. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean anything to me, really, except I feel like I can use some of these things as a tool. See what I'm saying? If I put a gold chain on, it's just so, like I was saying earlier, so that you'll fucking listen to me, basically, and not think, oh, this nigga is, some fucking bum or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you got to bust out clean on these motherfuckers sometimes. Like, you know what I mean? Throw your suit on or whatever you got to do to let motherfuckers know I'm somebody that you should listen to. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not somebody that you should look down upon. I'm somebody that you should have respect for and listen to. And so whatever bells and whistles that make you feel like that's gonna make you rock with me, then I'll use them here and there if they want to, but it doesn't really mean anything to me. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't give a fuck about this shit.
Well, I agree with you, man.
But I don't own a Rolex or anything like that, or a supercar or anything like that. But
I had a fake Rolex from China, and it lasted about a week. that was the only time I had a Rolex, man.
You had a Folex, is what you
I had a Folex. Yeah, man. I think, well, they say that that when they talk about the psychology of why people that don't have the money to buy stuff will buy it, they say that poor people spend money on luxury items so that people will think that they're rich and treat them better. You know, it's almost like fake it till you make it type stuff. And I do agree with you, man. I think values is just an important thing. I remember when I was a kid, man, I wanted that stuff. You know, I wanted nicer everything. I wanted name brand jeans. I wanted name brand, shoes and all that. And my mother never got any of that. Everything we had was generic. Every fucking thing we had was generic. And her excuse was, I think she was just being cheap, but her excuse was, she said, I don't want your self-esteem to be attached to, these labels and these other things you get. And so when I got older, I got introduced to, teaching from people like Dr. Claude Anderson. He explained the history of that, of Black people wanting to be labeled, always wanting to be branded or labeled, even by people who hate you. Most of these people that make these luxury brands, Louis and Gucci and all that, they don't really like Black people that much, but we have this inherent need and desire to be accepted or to be seen as successful or whatever. And a lot of times we use all the wrong signals, so maybe that's a process some people have to go through. But I can definitely say that if you want to go broke, if you want to lose your money, then the easiest way to lose your money is to think of money as something other than what it is. Money is your escape route. That is your opportunity to build money to grow it into something that's sustainable, which is capital. And capital is how wealthy people survive. What most wealthy families, they don't even have conversations about, oh, you got to go get you a good job. And, this is how you survive. They have conversations about how they manage their capital so that everybody can eat good off of the capital that their family has. That's how every institution in America survives. They have a capital base. Like Harvard University has billions of dollars in a big pot, and they live off the interest from that money, right? Well, there's families that do the same thing. Well, they have a capital base. It might be the family business. It might be some real estate they own where they rent out some property. It might be some stocks and bonds they own. Maybe they're making money off of that or whatever. And everybody gets to kind of eat off that. So don't waste your opportunity, and I don't get mad at people when they have bad financial habits, because this shit is marketed to you every single day. You're constantly, and it's specifically marketed to us using the most powerful art form, in the last 100 years at least, which is hip hop music. A lot of times the corporations will market messages that are the exact opposite of what you must do if you want to be a liberated Black person. So I think as Black people, that's why we must take over the educational process. That's why we need media outlets like yours, where people can just at least get a different perspective. And here's the other thing too, man. I'm not going to get mad at somebody because they might want a luxury watch. I'm not saying you can't drive your Lamborghini if that's what you want to do. It's really about balance. That's the idea, right? So if you're driving a Lamborghini, but you haven't invested any money at all, well, that's a huge mistake. But if you're taking care of yourself financially and then you reward yourself with the guilty pleasure of a Lamborghini, then nobody has a right to tell you that there's something wrong with that, because I've done things like that. I work very, very hard. I save hard. I invest hard, but then I play hard. When I really want something, I will go do it, and nobody's going to stop me from doing it. So enjoy your money, but don't let the play outweigh the work. You got to do the work to earn the play. You make the investment so you can get the benefit. You plant the seed so you can get the harvest. You got some people that just want to harvest but don't want to plant any seeds, and then they wonder why their fields are dry.
What's your position on reparations? What do you think about it?
Reparations is like climate change. There is no debate. We are old. All this is proven 1,000 times over. And the fact that we have political people running for office who won't even say the word reparations, including many Black politicians like Obama, that's the sickest thing in the world. Like, that is literally a reflection of a very deep racial sickness, that they get offended. Obama got asked about reparations by Julianne Malveaux back in 2010, maybe. And when he didn't know she was going to ask the question. So she brought up reparations. And the minute she said reparations, he said, we cut this interview, cut it. Like, nobody told me this was going to be asked. Right. And I guess I get that. Right. He works for white people. He doesn't work for us. He's their guy. He's not our guy. He pretends to be our guy, but he's really their guy. But I think at the end of the day, this is what is owed. This must be confronted. This is America's ultimate sin. Now, here's the paradox you have, though. America really can't afford to repay what it's owed to Black people. They owe us about $14 trillion. It would be hard for them to do that. But that doesn't mean they should be let off the hook. And also, until they actually really address it head on, directly, in a significant way, make it a tip top priority, then that is a signal that we're not where we need to be racially. You can tell me Black Lives Matter all day long. You can talk all day about, about police shootings and everything else. Those are all important issues. That's great. Thank you. But if you're not ready to address the core issue of reparations, like, think about this, right? Kamala Harris does an interview with Angela Rye. Angela Rye asked her, who's the greatest rapper alive? And of course, Kamala fucks it up. I think she said Tupac, right?
Yeah, but, she said Tupac.
which is like, like, what the fuck, right? But here's the thing. First of all,
and then when told he was dead, she couldn't think of another rapper.
Right. She couldn't think of another rapper.
Couldn't think of another one.
Stuck. And here's the thing, though, right? Like, you're my political leader. I really don't care what you think. I don't really care much about who your favorite rapper is. That's not really something I like. Or at the very least, if we're going to ask you that question, we ask you that question after we ask the important questions. The important question is, what about reparations? What is your plan for reparations? How are you going to make things right with Black America? After I ask you that, then I might ask you who your favorite rapper is. So I don't necessarily even hold it against Kamala that she didn't know the answer to the question. Fuck. She was Attorney General of California. She was busy, right? I have no problem with that. I think the issue I have, though, is this idea that question is going to be asked, but yet you don't even bring up the Black community in any significant way. That's absolutely that. I mean, that's a mental illness. Like, that's literally sick, because you got millions of Black people out here all throughout these streets that are saying, we want to know about reparations, and you're not even bringing it up. That is a clear line that shows you the difference between the masses and the Black elite. The Black elite are tone deaf with the masses, and bet your ass it's going to catch up with them. It will catch up with them.
Absolutely. Brother, this has been a great one, man.
Man, I've had so much fun, man. I gotta have you on my podcast at some point, and I would love to come back anytime, man.
Come on, man. You absolutely a friend to the show. Love you to come back anytime. Share your wealth of knowledge with our audience. They definitely enjoyed everything you had to say here today. Yeah, man. This was a great way to wake up this morning, y'all. I hope you see the value in this. Tell everybody where they can reach you at, contact you, how they can join the Black Business School, and all of that.
Well, I would love to give everybody some free stuff to start off, to show you how good we are at what we do. You can have a free copy of my book. It's called It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar. Just go to allblackeconomics.com. That's allblackeconomics.com. And you sign up there, and what'll happen is you'll be on the list then, and then every few days you'll get something from the Black Business School, and you'll just see that we're the best in the world at what we do. We have 127,000 students, and we're not there for no reason. We're there because we're better than any educational institution in the world when it comes to what our people need. So feel free to go to allblackeconomics.com, and thank you guys for listening. I'm really appreciative of that.
Hey, man, thank you for coming and building with us this morning. We appreciate you, my brother.
Same to you, man.
Peace to you, my brother. Thank you.
For sure. Take care, everybody.
Yes,
all right.
Sir.
All right, brother. Peace.
All right, y'all. Well, all right, y'all. Man, that was a good one. Well, thank you. Subscribe because of Boyce. Well, all right. Now make sure you click that notification bell, sister T. You look like a sister, T. Clay. Click that notification bell. Click all. Make sure you you get notified when we come with the next joint. Let me see. I think I got what do we got releasing today? We got more videos releasing today? Let me check. Let's see. We just released Elder Kirsten John Foy. That was a joint about voting. We released one on Reza yesterday. Talib yesterday. And actually, Royce's full episode went up yesterday. All of y'all that's asking for the Dr. Umar video, that will be coming. Damn, did I send that to you yet, Greg? I think I did. Shout out to my producer, Greg Abraham. Hang on. Nope. I didn't get the drop. I'll get the drop, Artie Stacks. I forgot to get a drop. That's something new I wanted to try to start doing. I got a drop from Umar last night, but I forgot to just get a drop from the brother. Well, you know what? We'll get it when he comes back because I'm sure he'll be back. Said, peace to the God. It's Qasim. Keep building. Qasim? My Qasim? From now, Rule Qasim? Peace Allah. Peace Almighty. How you be, God? Or is it little Qasim Brickle from Now Rule? Which Qasim? I'm not even sure. So Andre Hatcher said, new roll. That's right. Now Rule. Well, yeah, man. It's been a great one. Yeah, he said Qasim Allah. Okay, peace to the God. Peace to the God. Yeah, we knocking these out. Please don't try to upload this before I upload it. Okay? I know some of y'all get excited with some of these interviews and y'all wanna repost it real fast. Just trust the process, y'all. You know what I mean? Trust the process. Let us do what we gotta do in order to build things up. You know what I mean? Don't sabotage it by trying to be so horny for the information. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. Yeah, that was a good one, right? That was a good one. I enjoyed that very much. So listen. That's right. That again. Please trust the process. Facts. Y'all are so welcome. Listen, I'm about to be out of here. Everybody who donated, thank you. Jimmy Busby, I appreciate you. Well, hold up. Yeah, Jimmy Busby, NDG, Jimmy Busby again. Wow. Breadman TV. How could you give Umar a platform to speak and not press him, scare him? But I did press him. What the fuck are you talking? What did you watch? Did you not watch it? Did you not watch? Knock it off. Thank you, sister. Tamika Mays. Thank you, Tamika. I appreciate you, sister. Shalon DeB. Thank you. Everybody who donated on Cash App, I thank you. Dario Trice. Nicole. Lafayette Cates. Thank you. Everybody, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Marquise M. Thank you. Listen, like I told y'all, I know y'all seeing the growth. Y'all seeing the movement. But like I told y'all, don't let nobody try to put a battery in your back. You know why? Because we black people and we not battery operated. we solar powered. And on that, I'm out. B1. I'm going to see y'all soon. Y'all can check me if you want to see me tonight. Check me out on the Happy Film. I'm not sure what their actual link is for their channel, but I don't know. Me and Reza Islam will be on the internet tonight building. Till then, for the Not a Mean Godcast, I am Lord Jamar. Peace.